Καλησπέρα κυρίες και κύριοι. Beyond Better Cities, Collaborative Solutions for the Future είναι το θέμα μας. Αγγλικά, ελληνικά θα το προσπαθήσουμε όλο. Cities are complex systems with numerous interconnected subsystems such as infrastructure, economy, social structures and environmental factors. In today's world, the expansion and development of modern cities serves as a vital lever in fostering economic growth and prosperity on a global scale. However, despite occupying merely 3% of Earth's land area, cities account for 70% of the world's energy consumption and generate 75% of carbon emissions. Global electricity demand is expected to rise at a faster rate over the next 3 years, growing by an average of 3.4% annually through 2026, according to the International Energy Agency. By working together, stakeholders can develop innovative and sustainable solutions that address multiple urban challenges simultaneously. So we could say that the concept of Beyond Better Cities promotes a collaborative and sustainable approach to modern urban development. And that is why we have with us 4 experts to discuss this crucial issue. And I start with the guy beside me, is Raphael Edberg, Senior Vice President and Portfolio Manager of Pimco. I'm sure you want to know more than from Pimco. So, Mr. Edberg, I hope you enjoy the weather here. It's fantastic, and the place, of course. While most investors know Pimco as one of the largest investors in public fixed income, you actually manage over $190 billion in real estate. Can you tell us more about how you approach real estate investing?
Sure. So thank you very much for having me here, and I do enjoy the weather. So yes, as you said, Pimco is actually quite big in terms of real estate investing. We have about $190 billion under management. That's across what we call the 4 quadrants of real estate. So that's public, private, debt, and equity, which means that we look at things always on a relative value basis and get a pretty good view of where we want to be. And I am sitting within the European team, so looking after our real estate investment in Europe.
Thank you. Mr. Kapetanakos, Panayiotis Kapetanakos is the CEO of Noval Property Greece. Μιλήσουμε αγγλικά ή ελληνικά, τι θέλετε?
Αγγλικά.
Αγγλικά. How does Noval Property contribute to the transformation of the urban landscape? One of your most emblematic projects concerns an urban regeneration in Athens. What's your vision for the future of the city through this major development?
Thank you very much. Indeed, we actually design and develop a new product in order to match the needs of the community, of the people, and obviously to preserve the environment. And for a number of years now, we have been developing mainly brownfield projects. So basically urban regeneration projects plus repurposing and redeveloping and reconstructing existing structures, mainly all building stock. So adding value to the urban landscape. Obviously, we use innovative design, bioclimatic design, energy efficient design, smart technologies in order to arrive at this result, obviously to reduce carbon footprint as well. You mentioned about urban regeneration, and indeed the Piraeus 252 urban regeneration project is a major project in our pipeline. Actually, I heard the Minister of Culture just before talking about Piraeus 262, which is just next to us. So it is the very first Viohalco factory dating back in the 1930s. It's about 75,000 square meters of land and over 100,000 square meters of build-up area. It's next to Hellenic Cosmos Foundation, next to the Athens School of Fine Art, next to the Athens Festival. So a large neighborhood of art and culture. So we brought Forster partners to come and do the master plan and the concept design for us, because we want to have a more global perspective of how things work in urban generations, and use their expertise of how they've done urban regeneration projects in London, in the UK, in the States, and elsewhere. So this master plan is actually a well-balanced master plan in terms of uses, and it has hotel, it has resi, it has offices, museum, food and beverage, retail, sports, and other uses. And we actually aim to create over there, together with the other buildings and foundations that are next to us, a metropolitan arts district, something that will actually promote combined and well-balanced use of working, living, and working together. This is also an urban regeneration project that we actually build on urban regeneration projects that we did in the past. For example, you may know the River West Shopping Center and its extension, and the IKEA megastore, which building is also ours. And you see it as the largest retail hub in Greece under single ownership. But we actually see it as a very large urban regeneration project. We actually took old factories, an old industrial site, about 83,000 square meters of land there, and we created the largest retail hub in its place. So something with a lot of greenery, a lot of free space for people, for families to come there, do their shopping, spend time there, spend quality time, and generally a value addition in the urban landscape. Thank you.
Thank you. We have with us Mr. Christoforos Stratos, CEO of Resolute Hellas. And the first question for you, Mr. Stratos, is could you tell us about modernization of aged building stock?
Yes. As many of the previous speakers as well mentioned before, one of the biggest challenges in Europe all over, and Greece as well, is that we have stable population. There's little growth. There's no massive need for new developments. We have to deal with, we are in this century where people are very aware of sustainability. It's a leading theme here in the Delphi seminar. So the biggest challenge for us as managers of thousands of properties here in Greece on behalf of the banks, the major banks, is to find new uses and to do this efficiently in terms of also building materials. How do we reuse and reposition existing properties with a minimum impact on the environment and with a maximum impact on the needs of the local population? So one of the major needs that we also see is more social housing. So when you're redeveloping properties, you need to think, how do they fit in the local community? What are the needs of the local community? How can you best answer them and work with the local authorities to find solutions that are not only large greenfield lead developments, but also focused on creating a better city. And this covers also the social needs, has to fit in also with transport, redevelopment of the city, and so on.
Thank you. Ioannis Ganos is the CEO of Alpha Real Estate Services, and I have a different question to you. With the rise of remote work and changing lifestyles, how should real estate investors and developers adapt their strategies to create mixed-use spaces that meet the evolving needs of urban population in Greece? And what is the future of office spaces in the new era?
Good afternoon from my side. Obviously, work from home or remote working is not a new trend. is not a new thing. It's something that is happening in various companies, in various employees, for more than a decade. The catalyst for this way of working was technology. Technology offered the connectivity, the ability to work from everywhere. The accelerator for this megatrend to become a megatrend around the world was COVID pandemic. So since that period, the trend for work from everywhere, it's something that we face every day, and it's a new reality that affects the lifestyle of the people. Obviously, the impacts are quite wide, but speaking about real estate, we are discussing about changing needs of the users, changing needs of the tenants. So office space becomes more agile, more flexible. You need to provide certain technology solutions in order for the companies and employees to work from everywhere. And at the same time, it requests infrastructure in terms of IT, cloud services, and so on, to be able to materialize this change. Investors and developers are aware of these demands of the tenants, obviously. They're trying to adapt their products. The same is happening in Greece. The new generation of buildings is taking into account this megatrend. Luckily, during the crisis in Greece, we didn't have many office developments specifically, so we didn't add stock that is outdated in terms of specifications. Obviously, we have the old stock that is outdated, but the new stock that's being constructed follows that rule. Speaking about the Greek office market, because office market in Europe or in the US is synonymous to collapse these days. Why? Because these metropolitan areas are oversupplied with offices, and the work from home acceleration affects these properties. However, the main problem is not really the work from home trend, but the ESG requirements. Older generation buildings do not meet ESG and other requirements, and they become obsolete. Work from home is not the trend that affects offices per se. What's happening in the Greek reality? The Greek market is in a different part of the cycle compared to the other markets. The Greek market has a shortage of quality office space. For instance, if we take into consideration the statistics, we have something like 1,100,000 Class A office space, while in Bucharest, a city that is smaller than Athens and started evolving the last 20 years, they have something like 3.4 million square meters of Class A space. So we are clearly undersupplied. What we see and what will be the future of the offices in Greece and in Athens, we're going to have a polarized market. We're going to have the Class A office stock that's quite limited, but it meets the requirements of the users, and the other stock, whatever that stock is. So this will create some dynamics that will affect pricing, will affect values, and the market will be towards that direction. What will happen in the less attractive segment of the market? Buildings will be repurposed, and the rest that will remain, they will house the needs of those companies that cannot afford paying the 20s or 30s that the Class A buildings have.
Thank you, Mr. Ganos. Your answers in the next round have to be shorter, please. We have plenty of time. I would like Mr. Edberg to tell us about what is keeping you busy now. Where you're investing now?
Sure. So I'll try to put it in the context of the panel, and I think you mentioned the three of you mentioned new uses and kind of the city of the future. I think the key focus we have at the moment in equity in Europe is around building the backbone of the city of the future, and what it is, that's building data centers. That's a key focus for us. Obviously, you are aware that content generation is only growing It's forecast to triple in the next 5 years. You're aware that cloud revenues at the big hyperscalers is growing in the teens to high teens to 20% plus growth rate year on year. And I guess last but not least, AI over the past few months has been a game changer. And to give you context on that, ChatGPT-4 I think is 1.7 trillion parameters, when ChatGPT-2 I think was something like 1 or 2 billion parameters, and that's like in the space of I think 12 months or so. So very strong case for data centers, and we are looking to build data centers, to develop data centers in cities that are lacking data centers, and Greece, for instance, is actually a market which is of interest, from that standpoint. So that's one thing that we think about in terms of the city of the future. The second one is actually around affordable housing, so living, and especially the most affordable part. One area which is, for instance, could be interesting is affordable housing in the UK, and especially in England, where for people living in London, that resi prices are through the roof, including the cost of renting a place. And the third topic, but still, in the context of the city of the future to some extent, is looking at what are the assets that will be there on the longer run. And that's why we're actually also focusing these days on net leases, focusing on assets which are infrastructure-like. So, for instance, food stores, production facilities, hospitals, or schools, where there is a long lease in place, and it's kind of future-proof from that standpoint. So that's the three areas of focus in equity for us.
Mr. Kapetanakos, how do you see the Greek real estate market today and evolving in the future?
Well, the Greek real estate market, I think Ioannis mentioned it briefly. The Greek real estate market is counter-cyclical to other European real estate markets. So here we have a structural imbalance between supply and demand. So we have a short supply of quality product, but strong demand. In other European countries, you have abundant supply of quality product, but shorter demand because of the macro issues, inflation, etc., etc. So this one is actually, this structural imbalance in Greece is actually fueling rents up and capital values up. It's keeping occupancy up as well. We see that, there's a lot of demand for green offices, for logistics, for resi in particular, all kinds of resi. Retail as well, because, Greece has the lowest density of shopping centers and retail parks in Europe. So we see a lot of demand for this kind of real estate, and I do not think that this thing is going to stop in the next few years. I mean, the big gap between supply and demand, and it is good for all of us that the Greek real estate market is counter-cyclical. It adds to the Greek macro story, political stability. So they all help have a good environment for real estate companies like ourselves to work in.
Mr. Stratos, could government and city authorities create a strategic planning that could bring collaborative solutions? And if yes, what would that